And the two issues that they were facing were a lack of food and water, clean water, as well as a lack of air. So the meditation it's protected them on both of these fronts. So in terms of the lack of air, when you meditate, it slows down your breathing. It slows down your whole body's metabolism and helps you stay calm. So for those days and weeks that the boys were trapped in the cave, they were able to keep themselves preserved, if you will, with less resources. And there's a lot that we could talk about in terms of the biological impact of the meditation they did. So if you look at the biological markers of meditation, so we study what happens to the body. So let's start with the brain, for example. The regions of the brain that correspond with focus and attention and relaxation are all improved by the process of meditation. And this is because of the fact that our brains are neuroplastic. We have neuroplasticity, meaning that we can train our brains to respond differently. And meditation is one of the most efficient ways that we can retrain our brains. Then if you move beyond the brain science or the neuroscience of meditation, you can see that it makes inflammation in the body go down. It makes heart rate, respiration rate go down. Our metabolism can slow. It invokes what Dr. Herb Benson called the relaxation response decades ago, which we've been unpacking since then. We know that for meditation, when you look at the antiviral response in the body, we fight disease more effectively. We also, our telomeres, the protective caps on the end of the chromosomes, if they're longer, it's associated with longevity. If they become contracted by age or trauma, it's associated with an earlier death. So meditation, and even meditation retreats or meditation training, lengthens these telomeres, which in turn suggests that it gives us an opportunity to actually live longer as well as be more healthy. So if you look at the research, it impacts our productivity when we're more mindful. It impacts our ability to regulate our emotions, meaning we can calm ourselves down rather than react in a way we might later regret. It also helps us if we want to change our habits, so to give up an unhealthy habit or form a more healthy habit. It helps us with our connecting and communicating with other people. When we are less distracted, we can be more aware of what's happening in them. So our, what we call empathic accuracy, our ability to correctly understand the emotional state of someone else, is increased when we're more mindful. Pain, that's another important one. In the first many studies that happened in a scientific context were about people with chronic pain that medications were not responding to. The ability to be mindful and to train yourself how to work with pain actually has significant impact on our response to our pain. So we experience subjectively much less pain when we learn functionally how to stop fighting the pain, which then creates more stress in our body and then doubles down on the pain we experience. If we can relax our mind, it has an impact on our experience of the body. And I think the final thing I would say is, this is consistent with traditional wisdom of thousands of years. So some of the things that we study are putting people into the fMRI machines and looking at the brain and seeing the increase of gray matter. So the regions of the brain that are associated with things like concentration actually become larger. And we rewire our neural networks so that we can focus and have less distraction. So instead of the patterns in our brains being all over the place, we can get better at returning our attention to where we want it to be. These studies on genomic expression, so how our genes, we have our genes that we inherit, but then the way that our genes function, they respond to our environment and our behavior and our mental state. So when we learn mindfulness, what we see in these gene functioning studies is that it actually makes us healthier, become less at risk for things like Alzheimer's disease and heart disease and cancer even, when we are able to train our minds. It's actually quite amazing.